All right, Mike, we'll get started with questions for Coach Odum.
You got to come back. It's been a while, but you got to come back. What's this opportunity like now with Morgan and kind of just your relationship with him over the years?
Yeah, it's pretty cool to kind of come full circle. Last time I was here, I think it was about 20 years ago, and Morgan was a GA at the time when I was coaching here. And then, I leave, and Morgan takes my spot, and then 20 years later, Morgan, becomes the head coach, and I take his spot. We kind of just went one big circle. So it's really awesome opportunity. I love the energy that's, in the building the last, few months I've been here. Really excited about the direction of this program and where it's headed under Morgan. And, it's just really cool to be back at your alma mater and coaching and seeing so many familiar faces around. It's really a special deal.
Your room has some veteran returners, Rabbit, Nate, Jackson. What did those three specifically, bring to this room, and how have they helped you maybe get reassimilated with Utah football? Yeah,
they've been a great, big help for me. Just kind of seeing how they operate, how things are done, how they call the defense back there. I learned a lot from those guys. And then I, obviously as being the position coach, I have my touch that I want to put on there as well. But great group. They work extremely hard. I'm talking about everybody in the room. I got 12 guys, and they're hyper competitive. Everything they do, from the weight room to, running sprints to anything that, involves football, they are all about, being the best. And so it's a great group. They love being around each other. It's competitive, but yet it's not, divisive at all, and so, but those three, I would even add, Nate Tillman in that. I mean, they all do a great job with that.
Coach, you came from San Jose State, and there were a few players offensively and defensively that followed you here to Salt Lake City. What can you say of Jedi Moe and Kyrie Scholes and Steve Shado?
Yeah, those are my guys. It was really cool that you have an opportunity for them to come here to where I was, going to be coaching, and it all just worked out. They've really, embraced, the University of Utah, because again, I'm an alum, and so I'm bragging about it all the time. And then, for those guys that want to be a part of it, and, all three of them are doing a really nice job for us, and they fit in. The team has really embraced those guys. And so I feel like a proud dad, you know what I mean? Like, come here, son, all right, good job, buddy. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool.
You've obviously known Scally for a long time. What makes him unique as a person, and in your time here, how has he kind of been as a head coach?
Yeah, I mean, he's been here, his whole career, as a player, as a coach, and so he has so much invested in the program, and you can feel that. He's been here for so long, and just his leadership, his push for the culture to be right, in this program. It permeates through every position group, and it's really cool to try to jump in and fill in where I'm needed, and with his leadership and kind of directing the whole ship, it's been really refreshing, and I enjoy it every single day I come to work, and you get some more of his philosophies on things and what he wants done, and it's really cool. And like I said, the feel in the building is really positive. I know it's the honeymoon phase, and I get that, but you can feel the genuineness of the whole thing, and it's moving in the right direction, that's for sure. Mm-hmm.
Coach, when you were here last, you coached a really good safety, Eric Weddle. What was that like coming back? What was his reaction? And obviously, he's got a son coming up in a couple years. I know you can't talk about that specifically, but just that relationship with Eric Weddle.
Yeah, we're extremely tight. We talk, throughout the years all the time, and I visit with him, or he's come up to visit me, and we just talk ball, we reminisce, and it's just been a really positive relationship. I know his family really well, and I feel like kind of like the older brother, you know what I mean? And but yeah, we talk all the time, and it's some confidential conversations, but I can't say enough about the guy. It was fun coaching him at the time. You know, a guy that was just super like into every aspect of the game and wanting to like elevate his game knowledge wise. And like once he started to do that, man, he was unstoppable, and he wanted a lot, you know, on his plate, you know, with adjustments and leadership, and just kept feeding him with that. And man, he just took off, and so proud. Now he'll probably be a Hall of Famer. You know, I know he's a college Hall of Fame, you know, player, but man, I there's no doubt he should be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
Dan, I'll have the last one here.
So, Coach, you mentioned the four safeties that have an opportunity to earn a starting spot. You've got a couple of other guys in terms of Marcus and Manny that are working their way up. So it feels right now, at least on paper, like it's a little bit of an embarrassment of riches. There are only so many spots on the field. What is it that you're looking for as guys fight for position in terms of starting, in terms of reps, what the rotation looks like? You know, how are you going about evaluating that?
Yeah, it takes everything. You know, it's like I want everything to be done right because it's so competitive, and then from that, you know, like I might have to do more things of using more guys because I have, you know, some guys that have played and done well and deserve an opportunity to play on Saturdays. And so we'll see how that plays off. We got a long way to go. But yes, I'm fortunate right now, knock on wood, that, you know, I have some guys with some, you know, some depth that is really fun to have. You know, some places I've been, it's never been the case, and you know, put bubble wrap on guys so you don't get them hurt, you know. So, but this is kind of cool. And you know, the really neat part about it is that, like I said, they're so competitive, but yet they're willing all the time to help the guy next to them. You know what I mean? Where it's not a selfish room, even though they know it's hyper competitive and they're all trying to get to be the guy. You know, so. It's really cool. Like I said, like I said, we're talking about a certain amount, but I have 12 guys, and with some reps with some of the other guys that you might not know about, I would feel comfortable with them in the game, you know. So it's unfortunate. There's only a couple spots on the field, but maybe we have some packages where we do some different things. Who knows down the line? But they're all going to be involved with special teams, every last one of them, and so and they're in that leadership position on the team, and so they do a good job of leading by example and doing things the right way and being great in the classroom. So all the things you want in a safety.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.